Awesome. Awesome. This should be really fun. All right, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out, guys. We're going to do a few micro demonstrations here for a bit before we get back into looking at people's replays. Do you really need to clean the eyes of the black cat? I will go back in time 5 years, and I will make sure I tell the crazy cat lady to get that done. Yes, the cat got sorted out, guys. It's a video from 5 years ago. They're fine. The cat got taken to the vet. It was okay. Is there a way to know where your replay is in the queue? I don't know, Luke Bomber. You can maybe ask some of the mods in chat, and maybe they can figure out where yours is if you let them know what your replay came under. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend necessarily assuming your replay is going to be on in the next few minutes. You can definitely be very nice, and maybe one of the mods in chat will be nice enough to tell you where yours is. But generally speaking, it's very hard for us to make sure we line it up for when people happen to tune in, right? It's pretty impossible. We've got some requests for like Templar Prism Storm Drop so that we don't get EMP'd. So how to like drop High Templar and land storms, Sentry Micro, and Xbox 360 controller micro. So a few good suggestions already coming out. We're gonna just fuck around with some of this first of all, and then we'll get through those. So let's harass a mineral line, hey? Okay, all right. What should we do first of all? Well, let's take a look here. Okay, Phoenix. So, first of all, let's remember to use my hotkeys like so. Okay, so something you can do with any hotkey without even setting it up is you can actually lift things very quickly by holding down the key. And you can use this for any spell. In this case, it's G for Graviton Beam. And you can actually just spam clicks. Now, a lot of people don't understand how to do that. So I'm going to explain that again. So they're like, oh, and sometimes I will do it this way, right? I will sometimes go G, click, G, click, G, click if I'm picking up a few units and I'm being nice and precise. However, this is not rapid fire. This is something that's built into the game for anyone, guys. You can hold it down. Now, what happened there is I tried to do it too fast. So I'm going to show you again. Why is it not working? I'm trying it, but I'm just clicking on the unit. It's not working. It's a toggle, okay? So the way this actually works is you need to hold it down and it will toggle after just a moment. Now, that brings us to something we should probably talk about, which is your keyboard settings. And I know we always inevitably look at our keyboard settings at some point. So, real quickly, while we talk about this, keyboard properties. Open up your keyboard properties menu. Make sure your repeat delay is the shortest possible. Your repeat rate is the fastest possible. Pro gamers actually use extra software to make that even faster. It's tournament legal, but it allows you to basically hold down the key and make it click in faster. So what that means, if we slow down the repeat rate to the slowest possible, if I'm trying to build 20 Zerglings at once, oh my god, I'm holding the key down and it takes forever just to make a couple of Zerglings. Oh my god, whereas we turn that right up, let's hold down Z again. Or Z, and you can see it builds a billion Zerglings really quick. Likewise, the repeat delay, this is how long from holding it down to when it kicks in. So that's the important one for what we're talking about here, but make sure it's shortest and fastest possible. Let's go back in game. So you're gonna have to, if you are in that situation, hold it down and then start doing your clicks. And you go, so you just gotta wait and you'll get a feel for it through practice. How long do I need to wait? It's not very long. Or you can just use rapid fire and that'll be nice as well. So rapid fire is a fantastic little command where we can go into my standard hotkey setup. We can go global. So hotkeys, global, unit management, down the bottom, choose ability or AI target. We're going to change the alternate. Do not change that. Left mouse button. That's literally your ability to click on shit. So what we're doing is we're binding an alternate for your ability to click shit. And we're going to make that G in this case for Graviton Beam. Awesome. And you can actually go into the text file and you can make it so there's many keys as the alternate. Just give it a Google if you guys want to explore that more. I'm not going to give you a rundown on how to do that. And now I have rapid fire set up. And what that means is I've made it so G not only still works for spells, but when I hold it down, it will also spam left click without my hand being on my mouse. Now this is something which a lot of people's brains are going to explode. There's always a few people who don't get that. When we explain this, they go, cool. And I show them how to do it, and you can hear them clicking when I'm coaching them. And I'm like, no. You don't need to click. Take your hand off your mouse. And they're like, So I can move my mouse around and I can go click, 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 click still. Or I can just hold the button down and it can spam clicks incredibly quickly. And I'm not going to be clicking my mouse. I'm just going to be moving my mouse, okay? So the only thing I'm doing different from moving my mouse like this right now is I'm going to hold down G. And you see how quickly that happened? Holy shit. So we start spamming 15, 20 clicks a second or something like that, right? You can use this for spamming spells. So spells that you want to cast en masse really quickly. Infested Terrans. Occasionally you might want to drop a bunch of abducts quickly or something. I don't know. Warp-ins is really big for this, right? People love their warp-ins on this. And yes, as people in chat are pointing out, your APM tab here, look at how much that goes up when we do this. Goes up to 700 APM, 900 APM there, because it's spamming those clicks out so fast. Biles, sometimes corrosive bile, but warp-ins is one of the biggest ones. That's really, really huge, is warp-ins. And yeah. So anyway, so often what you'll do as well is we'll see people stacking air units, right? So the way air units move is if we just let them move and give them time, notice they're all going to naturally spread out, right? Let's get these other guys. So they kind of naturally spread out. Whenever you move them around, check this out. They're going to stay in formation. But the moment I click anywhere near them, we're going to click within the magic box. So there's a magic box. It's this area here around all the units selected. We can't see exactly where it is, but it's roughly that area that I've got boxed, okay? If I right click anywhere in that box, they will say, well, that's too close. That's within our magic box. We can't get there without actually breaking formation. So they will ignore formation and they will clump up. So anytime we click outside of the box, a bit further away, they maintain formation. Anytime we click anywhere within that box, that imaginary box around the units you have selected, like there, they will all clump. So by spamming clicks like this every now and then, it's a way of artificially keeping your units stacked up. So you'll see pros do this really well with a lot of practice, right? Where they'll fly around and over time, the more you fly, the more spread they get. And then once in a while, they'll do that. So what we can do is we can actually outrange these spore crawlers a little bit. And then pull back. Hey, what are you doing over there, buddy? We are in Eastern US, so I'm not going to be able to showcase the super fancy micro, but I wasn't wanting to anyway. But you can see here, use that is really useful. Now, another way people would use that is if I'm going against Thors with Mutalisks, it's fine on the server, Helix, no worries. Or with the Phoenix, same thing. Thors have anti-air splash damage with massive bonus to light units. So if you clump your mutas up like this, really good to harass. You can come around from the edges. We can be like, all right, let's go, go, go. Hit the extractor, pick off a marine or two. The moment a Thor comes out, if we're clumped up like that, every single Mutalist will get hit by a shot and they'll all be on half-life. And you'll be like, oh my god, all our shit's gonna die. Ah. So in that scenario, sometimes you'll want to engage if the Thor's on its own, doesn't have a lot of support. So if there's a Thor here, we would basically just click past the Thor and then we would press hold position. Because if we at any point panic and start clicking underneath them, trying to click on the Thor, they might all clump up and start eating splash damage. So the magic box is a really cool concept that's very nice. Good point. Another thing for rapid fire is defender mode. A lot of people, when they've got mass lib, like to use rapid fire and just hold it down and spam down lib circles. But you can also do that without rapid fire. Remember, guys, that you can just basically hold down the key, even without rapid fire. Even without going into your settings, you can use that to make spells work really well. So, couple of basic things. First things first, couple of Marines and a medevac. Remember, guys, ask questions as we go. We'll try to deal with those. We can actually... So how do you pick up? Basically, you just need to click on the medevac. So if I'm doing a drop, I always like all the units and the drop itself to be on a control group. And then at any point, I can just click on the drop. And the drop will both fly towards the units, and the units will walk towards the drop. And then we can micro it around. So that's the most basic way of doing things. Here we go. We've got a ton of liberators setting up lib zones. Hold down the key. Click, 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 click. I don't have rapid fire set up, so we're just going to do it like that. So remember, it's that toggle we were talking about. So we're toggling the spell. And we're going... Most pro gamers don't know you can do this. Go ask them. Nah, I'm kidding. Some of them don't. Yeah, whenever I talk about toggling this, or whatever you want to call it, people get really confused. But, part of the intelligent spellcasters we have in StarCraft too. A few other suggestions of things that like to be rapid-fired. Parasitic Bomb. Actually not very important to rapid-fire Parasitic Bomb. It doesn't stack anymore, Luke Bomber. So yeah. Inject Rapid-Fire saves Zerg lives. I actually still don't use that. I know Serral does sometimes, like in the late game. And a few other people do as well, but yeah. Yep. Lots of different units. Anyways, Rapid-Fire is not that interesting. Okay. We can come back to this scenario. But let's talk about storm drops. Let's go through the questions in chat as priority, and we can come back to this scenario. So can we just create like a fresh scenario of just like a whole bunch of bio and ghosts, and because we've got this one saved, right? So then we can go do like a whole bunch of bio and ghosts, basically versus the High Templar and a Warp Prism. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you guys some storm drops real nice here, while Helix is awesome enough to set that up. And essentially it's just, we're going to show how to drop out of a transport while it's moving. And all we're going to be doing is boxing those units and going T-click, box, T-click, box, T-click. It's pretty advanced micro. I actually don't do it in my games because I'm much more of a Disruptor and Colossus focused player and Stalkers. And then I like to go straight up to Tempests from there usually. So I don't really use Storm that much, but Storm drops are incredibly powerful. They're one of the strongest things. And if I started adding it into my play, it would probably be sick. Be absolutely sick. Okay, cool. We got the setup already. Very, very nice. Okay. So, once again, we don't have Storm. Give us Storm. This Warp Prism feels real slow. Oh, it was moving at the same speed as the High Templar before. That's weird. I don't know. All abilities on for both players. Okay, cool. So once again, guys, you don't even need to box them necessarily as well. You can actually not box them. Everything's on a control group. Control group 2 is how I do it. How do we drop while moving? You use your drop hotkey. For me, it's just D. We're on standard hotkeys. And you left click on the Warp Prism. Now, why are they picking back up? That's a bug on this map. So ignore that. That would never happen in an actual game. That's just a bug. Sometimes the units won't drop properly. So you can, after you've given that drop command, you can micro your Warp Prism however you want. So I can keep moving it around and everything inside it will drop until I give it a stop command. So if I want to stop part way, I just press S and then keep clicking and it stops unloading. Okay? So this is what we're going to be using. We're basically going to enter combat. We're going to D left click. We're going to select our control group, T, select our control group, T, select our control group, T. That's the order. Now, why am I explaining that? Because when you micro, you want to write this shit down when you're first learning it. So we are going to go mega friggin' nerdy right now. And we're going to go... I'm going to create a little Google Drive document in giant, like size 400 text. And we're going to write some random ass notes. Just so that you guys understand how much you want to break these activities down. Because... if you're trying to learn how to play guitar, it sounds like, yeah, you just fucking do the thing, you do the thing. It doesn't make a lot of sense when you're new. You need to break it down to the most basic fucking movements if you're brand new to this stuff, right? So, newbie stream random notes. And we're going to write down some notes. So, storm drop. So, first of all, let's create a little dot point list. Also, this font is not big enough. We need... There we go. Storm drop. So step 1, Warp Prism and High Templar on control group. Their own special control group, right? Let's say control group 2. Move Warp Prism along... Move Warp Prism to the flank of the battle. Obviously, you don't click it straight through their army, but you kind of go along the edge of their army usually, like along the side. Drop hotkey, which is normally D, and left click on the prism. As the High Templar drop, select Control Group 2 and cast Storm. Repeat over and over as more High Templar drop. Now, obviously, we could box those High Templar. That's actually how I would naturally do it, is boxing those High Templar. But we've written it down in the most basic, simple list here so that it's really broken down. So now I'm going to slow that down. We're not even doing it on the enemy, right? And this is the best way to think about learning shit in StarCraft. So we've got everything on control group 2. Warp Prism, 4 High Templar. We're going to, at any point, we can just right-click on the prism to load things up. We're now going to move into the imaginary combat zone. We're going to press D and left-click. It will unload as our prism moves. We're then going to select control group 2, storm, click. Select control group 2, storm, click. Select control group 2, storm, click. All right, we've slowed it down. Now let's actually dive on our opponent's army, shall we? I think we've got energy on all these High Templar. Yeah, not quite. Oi, get out of there. Get out of the prism. Stupid bug. Awesome. All right, so now we get to storm some Terran units. There's no EMP here for my Terran opponent, but like I said, I naturally, actually instinctively like to box that. So I actually ended up boxing. You can see my muscle memory took over when those Marines came in. But we can reset that and try again. Awesome. And let's try and use the control groups this time. All right. I'm not using the control groups, unfortunately. Now I am. I just realized that I have warp prism speed. Nice. Oh, we're gonna do stutter step with the High Templar? No, GG's. Cool. So hopefully that shows you guys how to do it. Now people are saying, but how do you avoid EMPs with it? You literally just have to cast the storms quickly. That's it. Because your High Templar are dropping one at a time, they can't EMP all of them. Each EMP, also, if they're full energy, will only knock about half their energy off. It won't knock all of them. And it's just about speed. So with pros, they'll just make sure it's just about quickly having the order of actions down. So it's unload, storm, drop, unload, drop, storm, drop, storm, drop, storm. And the faster you do that, the less chance there is for EMPs. Now, they could technically preemptively EMP you, right? They could EMP where they think you're going to drop and actually block them. But the only time I've seen that consistently work on more than a single High Templar coming out of the prism, the only time was when Probe was playing the WCS A and Z qualifiers, which I was casting or I was watching, and he was playing from NA or somewhere where he had like over 200, I think he had 250 ping. He was playing to the Australian server from like America at the time. I think it was in the root house. And it was really funny because basically every time he unloaded, he could not get the storm off before Seether would EMP the High Templar. And like it was repeatedly happening and he was losing fights. He never would lose if he was playing on low ping. So if you guys are playing with really high latency against very high level players, there will be times where that screws you. But I would say even at 250 ping, you can probably pull this off versus most players up to a pretty damn good level on the ladder. So it works out really well. Dr. Detroit, thanks so much for the 11-month resub, as well as Ginjess for the 2-month resub as well. Guys, this is the Newbie stream. Any more suggestions? What were the other ones? Someone was asking how to use sentries, right? So I guess we can fuck around with some Sentry Stalker, maybe a Colossus here. You could leave the Terran army the same, maybe. Doesn't really matter. You do it against doing it against roaches works as well. Whatever. It really doesn't matter. I'll leave it to you. Thank you so much, Paul Vela, for the 25-month resub. I appreciate that. Sentries, High Templar, and Blinkstalkers combined. How to use that, says Cliggity. Wrong question. Don't build that combination of units. Don't blink. Just don't blink your Stalkers. If you're using that army, your Sentries and your Stalkers, like Sentries go with the main army because they're an A move unit, like Queens, right? They just have one spell you want to use, right? Activate Guardian Shield maybe before the fight starts, but all you do is throw down a wave of force fields, A-move your Stalkers and Sentries, and you just focus on microing your High Templar. So we were talking about this earlier with like the very first game we did was a guy who went mass tank lib marine, and his like army was just derping about. And I was like, just make the tanks, don't make the libs, and then you can actually micro properly. So keep your army simple. Always have one spellcaster that you're really focused on. If you've got high sentries left over from the early game, sure, you can use them. You can drop some force fields or some guardian shield, but it's never as high priority as using your Psystorm. Psystorm is the most important thing once you get to that stage of the game. So it's pretty good. How do you can show blink sniping? A lot of people struggle with that, says Rainman. What do you mean blink sniping? I don't know what that means. Like picking off units and then blinking away? Like slowing down a push across the map, you mean? Or okay, yeah. We'll definitely talk about that. Cool. All right, guys, let's talk about sentries. So this here is a army which is actually really hard to use the sentries in, right? So we've gotten the hardest possible display of sentry micro here, where if we had like stalkers and colossi, we could just A move. Let's look at what happens if I A move here. My force fields are going to be useless. Well, oh, the hotkey is not there. Fuck is that? Oh, these are my observer settings. Okay, sorry guys, because I've got. Maybe I can use my poo hotkeys. Are they standard? They don't appear to be standard. No, we'll just use standard and we'll just screw up my observer settings for now. So the thing is I have camera on F, so that's taken the sentry force field away. Here we go. Put the force field back on a hotkey so we can actually cast the spell. And okay. So anyway, it's going to be hard to use force fields here because normally you want to have a ranged army and you want to just split your opponent's army in half. But if I'm using zealots, it's like, I guess I can opportunistically try to trap him so he can't pull back from my zealots. And then when my zealots are out, I'm like, oh god, this is, now I get to use the force fields in a more normal way. But I was a little bit late to start doing that. We've got someone else helping me micro with the warp prism as well. I'm like, cool. This is like Archon mode micro right here. You save the immortals, I'll micro the sentries. This is awesome. So can we redo the comp with just range units? Just to do the simple scenario first of all. And then we can go back to that one. Cool. Okay, we got like 1 billion Colossus. This is like the easiest win of all time. I like it. And we got like a ton of sentries. So it's basically just going to be, I mean, there's a Viper there, but yeah, basically we can just go, oh, here's a wall. You can't close with me. My superior range wins out. Now, he can actually break force fields by abducting. You notice he had pulled a Colossus through, which actually created a hole. And you can see we're just kind of going F click, F click, F click. So that's when I'm just doing one at a time. I'm still in the habit of F clicking, and only under high pressure when I'm really sure of what I need to do I do the proper micro. So reset this one. And when you need to just go, ooh, I need to cast a lot at once, and you're very confident, remember the toggle I was talking about before, guys, without using rapid fire, because we don't want rapid fire on force fields, we hold down F and we go click, 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 click. Okay, so we can just throw a wall like that, all right? And if you get really good, we don't want those force fields overlapping. So with practice, when you start out, you'll be like, it's like, well, that's pretty friggin' inefficient. We did 5 force fields to cover what 3 could have, right? So as we get better at it, we'll go bam, 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 bam. And be like, oh, that's a little bit cleaner. And I am bad at force fields. I started playing Protoss in Legacy of the Void when the Sentry was not as integral a unit. If I had played Protoss all through Heart of the Swarm, I would be a god at force fields, because this was like the main spellcaster in the earlier versions of StarCraft, where force fielding was everything. These days, you get up splash damage so quickly. Sentries are optional. It is really valuable in certain scenarios. So you can see he's breaking these force fields, and it's actually like so frustrating, man. And you can see if you know your force fields are about to run out, like I know they're gonna run out here, right? Bam. So I'm actually throwing down extra ones ahead of time. So you get this idea of sometimes people will like start throwing, like they'll be like, whoa, force fields, and they're like throwing force fields to block a single roach. and then a force field in the middle expires, or two do, and like 40 roaches push through. And you're like, was the one force field over there really worth blocking the 2 roaches? So this is an army with very low firepower for killing roaches. Colossus suck at killing roaches. If we actually had more Immortals in here, Archons, we would chew through those units, and we'd be happy to let more units through to actually fight us, because we'd be like, yeah, I can just obliterate like 12 roaches at a time. So we'll let 10, 12, 15 through at a time. So generally speaking, you do want to keep them at bay. But yeah, like this army is just disgusting, right? Like this is so unfair. Now he can Blinding Cloud or something with that Viper, but remember, like, and we can actually just move over to the flank here.
You have Burrow, by the way.
And I don't have an Observer? Okay, that's just unnecessary complication, but yes. Awesome. All right, so that's Force Field Micro. Are there any more questions about Force Fields, guys? I guess Hallucination can be really cute, but it's not really a key ability at all. Normally we use it for scouting. You make a Phoenix because that's the fastest unit in the arsenal. Awesome scouting ability. So make sure you remember the hotkey for that. The default is CX. I know that because that's the one you always use. Of course, you can go and make some Colossi or something to trick your opponent. That's actually like a ridiculously good PvT ability. Sometimes you'll see, like back in Heart of the Swarm or Wings, they'd study the Terran always scans at the same time. So they'd be like, oh, he's always going to scan to check my composition at 6 minutes. And like, so 6 or 9 minutes, because it's Heart of the Swarm. They would hallucinate a Colossus like 20 seconds before, sit their army in the reliable spot where they know is going to get scanned. It gets scanned, and they're like, haha. But that doesn't work because I'm an idiot. I don't know why I'm saying for Terran. You do that against like Overlords or stuff, or Marine Scouts, not against a scan. I'm just making shit up. Scan reveals the hallucination. Thank you. Chat called me out on that as soon as I said it. Good. I've definitely seen it happen, but I guess it's when Marine Scouts come in. There have been PvT games where people have built Vikings, like 8 Vikings against someone who is going Storm Immortal. If someone can find me a VOD of that, please link it up. I guess it's something where they see the Marine coming with an Observer. Yeah, okay. You see like a Marine or a unit coming into Scout with an Observer, and then you like, oh, hallucinate a few Colossi or something. Make it look like you've got a Colossus or something. That makes more sense. Rain Man remembers one off the top of his head. He says Neeb versus Alive in GSL. Apparently did this. Awesome. Good shit, man. It's happened 2 times on accident. Casters hype it up as intentional. Oh, no. It's definitely happened on purpose a bunch of times. Corporal trips. Obviously not very often. Anyways, so there was a few what other suggestions did we get, guys, from chat? So you guys should just be pulling them as we go. And what's the next scenario we should be running?
I have one set up for bias hitting borrowed units or something like that.
For what? What with borrowed units?
Bile hitting borrowed units like Widow Mines or Lurkers, I guess.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we can talk about like casting spells with shift, which we use sometimes and stuff for that, as well as a few other techniques. Cool. Rick Wilson, thanks for the 3-month resub. Much love for the support, dude. Can you neural a hallucinated unit? I think it just disappears if you neural it. I'm not sure. All right, so guys, we're going to be looking here at using some corrosive bile. So there's certain spells where you just place them on a location, and sometimes you're going to be going into a danger zone if you do it. Fucking ghost. This little fucker. What are you doing? So once again, we can just go see click, 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 click. But check it out. We're taking quite a bit of damage. So something else you can do is if there's tanks or other units with it, is you can also add a shift move command afterwards. So in very rare scenarios where it's a bit of a static standoff situation, I want to dart in, cast a spell, and pull back. I will go see click, 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 right click. So I cue them after casting their spells to move backwards. Now what's dangerous there is if I go and I don't let go of C, that right click's not going to work because I've still got my spell selected. So I need to right click and then shift right click. So C, click, 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 right, let go of C, right click, and then shift right click. So because when you know when you've selected a spell, if you right click, it cancels that spell selection, right? Left click to select C, left click to cast, C, right click to cancel the cast and go back to normal control, right? So that's why at the end of that, we've got to do that. So I use this on bunkers sometimes as well, where I'll be like, everyone bile the bunker or bile the depot. Or sometimes you'll go into siege tank range. You'll say, drop 3 biles on a siege tank and then run away, you know, and they'll kind of run in. So we can do it here. Takes 2 biles to kill a widow mine. So you notice I've queued those biles across there. Pretty sure I queued 2 on each, and I've got enough. That was weird. Yeah, we can use shift there and drop those biles. So that's pretty nice as well. My man. You can also use escape to cancel it. Yeah, that's pretty awkward to press escape, isn't it, though? Right? Escape's all the way up there. You can just right-click instead, but maybe it works for you. What else? It's fine. Yeah.
Can you bile a BC that's teleporting in?
Oh, yeah. Yes, you can. Do it.
Why not?
So if you're... Sorry, I'm used to having rapid fire, so I was a little bit slow to cast that. I just held the button down. I was like, why isn't it casting? So really cool thing. If you guys see a BC teleport, guys, and you launch the corrosive bile immediately, I believe it's actually too early, but no one has instant reactions. So basically, for most people, if you cast it immediately, it'll land just after it teleports in. But we can do that again one more time. And I think if I cast it straight away, the first biles won't do damage because it's technically still teleporting. So whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah, you see the first ones didn't do damage because I was like so ready for it. So that's the only thing you got to worry about is it can't take damage when it's warping in. So you've got to make sure you actually technically have to only cast it after about 2 seconds of it moving in. So anyway, you'll notice how often in these scenarios, so get the battlecruiser out of there. We can play with the lurkers. But yeah, basically, if your opponent's coming at you with lurkers, you want to try to drop biles on them and do damage, and then pull back before any of these lurker spines hit you. Notice how the lurker spines takes a while to actually come forward. So notice how it doesn't actually hit you if you pull back early enough, right? Or you barely get hit by it. So you can actually like throw biles there. Do lurkers, when they're burrowed, not leave any mark on the ground?
Nope. But I also killed your overseer.
Sorry, say what?
I killed your overseer earlier with the BC.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize lurkers left absolutely no mark on the ground. I never really thought about it, but I guess that makes sense. So yeah, basically we can run in, and rapid fire helps a lot here, right? Normally I would do this with rapid fire and it would make my life even easier. And we can kind of go run in, cast corrosive bile. See, click, 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 run away. Or we can do it with the shift click again. So don't move the lurker this time. Click, 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 run away. Now, why did that not work? Why did only 2 of them cast that? Let's make sure it's all off cooldown. Let's go. Okay. Where is it again? Alright, it's right there. It's right there. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, so you see I just dropped 5 corrosive biles. Those ravages kind of got stuck and then queued it away. So you can see they derp around when you queue it up, but it is pretty nice. It should take 3 biles to kill a lurker because it's spell damage. Spell damage isn't affected by armor, and a lurker has 200, not 180 hit points. Okay, 4. Yep, definitely 4 biles. Yeah, 4 biles to kill one, guys. Nice. If you have it on rapid fire, you can just tap the button twice on the Widow Mine and then shift right click without having to cancel anything. I don't think that works, man. Does it? All right, we're gonna go back and play with the rapid fire. Cool, we're gonna learn something, guys. I don't think you can, because I don't think you can cast it just by tapping. But let's take a look. Let's see. So we're gonna put corrosive bile on rapid fire now. As I said, guys, remember, if you want to rapid fire stuff, you can use a text file. But, like you said, wait. Oh, I guess it does toggle fast enough. You could just go. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit awkward. It kind of works. That's kind of cute. Yeah, I've never done it like that. I've always been more of a bam bam. Like I actually just go C click. Yeah. So the way I do it as someone who's a lot faster with my keyboard than many players, I guess, and my mouse keyboard coordination is I always go C click, C click, C click. So whenever I'm just doing 1 or 2 biles anywhere, I completely manually do it. And a lot of pros do it this way as well. So you'll notice if you watch like Serral and stuff in a fight, many times if it's like not the biggest Roach Ravager battle, or they've got a really high Ravager count, they won't launch all their biles at once necessarily, because they'll say, let's actually spread the biles out. And they'll just kind of go C click, 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 C click, 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 click. So they're creating the maximum amount of trouble for their opponent and the like a maximum amount of, hey, you need to dodge this shit over time. Whereas if you launch all your biles at once, right, if we wait for them all to cool down, there's actually a solid 7-second cooldown on it, right? So you can go, but then they dodge that, and then there's quite a long cooldown here before another wave actually is going to land. Is it worth it to coordinate Ravagers and Infestors, even if Fungals don't root like they used to? If you happen to have both units, why not? Is it something that has the same payoff it used to? No, not at all, Sopholock. So back when Fungal used to permanently root units, it was really awesome, right? Because you could Fungal down Bile on like a bunch of Bio, Fungal it, drop Corrosive Biles, ruin the army. Even though it's still a massive slow, they almost always get out of the bile in time. There are times where you can land it, but it's pretty tough. Tough. Me no speak good. I like C-click because you can do it while moving. The army doesn't have to reach the rally move spot before firing, says Hunter. Oh, it didn't have to in any of those scenarios, Hunter. You don't need to hold down shift until after. So that's why I was canceling the spell command and then giving a shift right click. I wasn't holding down shift during the spells at all. So that's something you need to be wary of. If you're someone who's using your spell commands a lot, say you say move here, shift spells, they have to touch the ground, then cast the spell, then run away. I actually wasn't doing that. What I was doing was I was going cast spells, then shift move. Slight difference. But very good point from Hunters. A lot of people fall into that trap. They start using shift to queue up spells. They'll go like, oh yeah, A move, shift, click, click, click. And the thing is, if your units are busy fighting, the way an attack move command works, like right now, I'll do it here. I can go shift, click, 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 click. All of my units have the order to touch that spot on the ground, engaging any enemies they fight on the way. And only once they've completed that command are they queued up to then give the corrosive biles that I've ordered to be spread across this army. So obviously this does not work if you queue it up, because what you're doing is you're putting the orders in a queue. You're saying, touch that spot of ground, and look, after I win this fight, now they're going to go drop the corrosive biles. And you see people do this. So you need to actually understand what you're doing. So whenever you're learning micro in StarCraft, really try to understand what the fuck you're actually telling your units to do. Units are dumb. Units will not figure shit out for themselves outside of an attack move, right? Make sure you say, okay, I'm saying do this after that. A lot of people don't really engage with and understand what shift means. Shift is do this after what I've already told you to do. What other orders you have. So something simple you could do there is often people, if they're going to give a queued up command, they'll try to press stop beforehand or something like that. And that way it's going to do it. Or they just don't use shift at all. We go attack move, and then we just use that. We just hold down C because it's on rapid fire. Comes off cooldown, we'll do it again. If we want bonus micro, now a lot of people make the mistake, and I was coaching someone yesterday who was doing it. Oh shit, biles are going to hit, and they do this, and they move their whole army. Terrible. Don't ever micro your whole army, guys. So any fancy micro, any detailed micro, let's do that again. Only do it by boxing your units and moving them in small packs. And then grab the control group, A move again. If I really want to dodge the biles, if I want to bother with that, we do that. But we only do that if we're very confident with our micro. if you use the entire control group, what you're doing is you're screwing up everyone's ability to fight, and you're making your whole army spend time moving rather than fighting, and that can be absolutely terrible. Can we go back to a charge lot army, either with sentries or just with other units against like roaches or whatever?
Yeah, I have one set up actually.
Beautiful. Because Clickety's asking, he says, how do you micro charge lots with Colossi Stalker and not let the charge lot just die to libs and bio?
Oh,
from
this was
Terran?
more about not letting the roaches die.
Oh, that's fine. No, we can do this. Well, what's this scenario?
Oh, yeah, basically you unburrow and then the zealots A move when you die, but you kind of get to the ramp and then you survive, and then you have sentries to deny that, and then you have ravagers and ultras to deny that.
Oh. So there's a big Zerg army burrowed, is there?
Oh, only 4 units.
Okay.
Oh, like the roaches are a bit more than 4 units, but on the ramp they're only 4 units.
Right.
Just for the force fields.
You can't leave! Force fielding as soon as it runs out. You can't leave! Ooh, got even more trapped on that ramp. Nice. So, notice how red is not dropping corrosive biles quickly enough. In this scenario where your units are trapped like that, you actually want to anticipate that your opponent is going to force field the very second that corrosive bile lands. So what you actually want to do in that scenario is already have another bile aimed just a second or two, even before the first one lands. So try that again. Just go onto the ramp. Yep. Okay, we can trap some units. And he's like, I desperately need to get out of there. So notice how if I try to force field, it immediately gets blocked again. So you can keep going bile, bile, bile. Otherwise, the Protoss can just keep dropping force fields. So you just drop 2 at the same time? Not good. They need to be staggered. So if you guys ever do get in a situation where the Protoss is being an absolute dick, so let's restart it, or actually try again. Yeah, but just make more Ravagers. You need more Ravagers. So you can... Basically, we're going to ignore the Zealots from this scenario, and we can show that you should actually be accepting that you'll friendly fire yourself a little bit with those biles. It's better, at least you get your units out of there. So get that Ultra out of there. Get some roaches on the ramp so I can still trap them. So get some roaches down to the low ground, and we're just going to, trap them. And you're trying to move them away. Don't actually fight with them. So try to get them out of there. You see, it's really hard to keep that force field up when those biles are staggered like that. And that's like, I'm only putting my focus in this, and it is so bloody hard. So just a cute little thing there. If you guys ever get a force field out of your base, stagger the biles, anticipate the worst case scenario from your opponent. Don't just wait for it to get bad. Awesome. But yeah. Pulling up a ramp against charge lots is so big. Because look, if these roaches come out and just A-move me, these zealots are going to tear them up, right? If you just unburrow and fight, zealots, when they get surface area, and melee units in general have like 6 stats, they're really cheap, they do crazy damage. If you let them get a big surround, whether it be zerglings or zealots or anything like that, you're going to have a terrible time. So when you get the range units, it's all about limiting their surface area, use the terrain, use choke points, and try to deal with them as best you can. Uh-oh, don't dance in the biles. I wonder who wins. Does that Ultra have upgrades? That Ultra don't got upgrades, do he? No, he did.
Nope.
GG's. Cool. Can you explain the worker split at the start of the game? Says Rakitis. Oh, at the very start, often people split them just so they actually get a bit more efficient mining. You noted that Raynor wasn't microing the worker properly against Serral. So with your mineral patches, you want to have 2 mineral patches, 2 workers on each mineral patch. You'll have 8 mineral patches on a base. We can go to that very first big scenario you had, I guess, because we had a base with drones on it set up, so we can show it there while we talk about this.
Sure.
If that one's saved. Yeah. So obviously this hatchery is...
Sorry.
That's all right. There we go. So just give me control over red if you can, and I'll talk about it. So
Done.
basically, guys, this is not a normal mineral line. Helix is just throwing this together. But generally speaking, it's the right number of mineral patches. Now, if we just click 16 workers, that's a full base of mining on these mineral patches. Ideally, you'll have 2 workers on each patch. That way, there's no time waiting. You can accommodate a 3rd worker on some of these patches, but it'll end up waiting behind the other workers about half the time for a turn to mine, which means it's not being as efficient. So you can go up to 20, 21, 22. Did you just put some more drones on? Don't do that. Don't do that. You can put 20 workers, even 21 or 22, and still get about 50 to 60, 70% mining off those workers, but it's not as efficient. So early on, we focus on just the 16. Every worker is 100% efficient. All they're doing is grabbing minerals, dropping it off, grabbing minerals, dropping it off. But if we don't micro it, some of these patches might accidentally end up with 3 workers. So notice this one worker comes in. Only one worker can mine from a patch at a time. So that worker, whenever it's waiting behind, it's not mining. Not mining. Not mining. Meanwhile, this patch here could have someone mining on it. So your drones are stupid. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you grab drones from any that have 3 on them, and you go and put that on the drone patches that have 2. So likewise, this patch here, you can see, look, drone's waiting. So we go, no, get off there. Go over to this one on the right-hand side that only had a single drone. And now they're just more efficient. It's just a real small detail, but it's just very rare you see pros not fix that up. Now, this was a lot bigger in Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty because you only started with 6 workers. So making sure they were mining not just paired up, but also from the closer mineral patches. Because even just the little difference between having to walk this tiny little bit extra actually made a substantial difference over the very slow first few minutes of your build-up. So you would be really obsessive to the details of that in Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty, where you'd be trying to make sure your workers are all on the close patches, always doubled up, never 3 to a patch. And that's like a really nice thing just to make sure that's nice and efficient. Was there a time where Fungal, Root, and Ravager existed together, says Zal? Chat seems to say yes, but I'm pretty sure the Ravagers from Legacy and Fungals don't root since HOTS. Perfect, I'm going to show you. So what am I going to YouTube, guys? Nurtio ZVT. It absolutely was a thing for quite a while, my friend. No, 2016. 2016, let's go. Here we go. Nurtio versus TY. Perfect. Oh my god, King Sejong Station. Yeah, so for all of 2016, I think it was end of 2016 after BlizzCon when they made it so the Fungal was both a projectiles. No, it was already a projectile, but they made it so it only rooted to 75%. I think they added a cast range or something on it to compensate. But yeah, it was a really cool style where you'd go Roach Ravager and you would use Fungal Growth and you'd be biling their army and dropping stuff on it. Okay, game 1 was Mech. Yeah, this game, Roach Ravager Infester, awesome. So let's see if we see any engagements. Yeah. So we can kind of just zoom through this VOD. I just want to see that Fungal bio because it was a thing of beauty. Snoot and Nurture were the 2 best players in the world at doing this. Oh, Dark was really good as well, actually. Dark was godlike at this as well. Rogue wasn't as big a fan of it. As far as I can remember, he could do it for sure, but there was a few players who were just so incredible at this style. In this fight, it looks like the Fungals maybe got used off camera pre-fight. Lame. Show us some of those ones. And the biggest part of this is you could lock a medevac. So if a drop came, Fungal, drop 3 bios on it, medevac's gone. You can't do that anymore. And that's one of the big weaknesses of their styles. The Terran can just float around with his drippy drops, and it's so hard to actually shoot them down. You can never land a bile on a medevac, even when it's fungaled at the moment. And that's been one of the big nerfs to this style, was Fungal no longer rooting. It's a big part of why Roach Ravager isn't as common, and it has even more pressure on trying to break the Terran. It's like a big timing attack before too many siege tanks get up normally. I did a Pig Daily with Nurtio about... Oh, was it this series that I talked with Nurtio? Oh, he complained that TY sniped his infestors with his early tanks. So there's an old Bulya legendary memory there. I actually forgot. I think that was game 3, right? Was this... Oh, this was the final game. But yeah, basically, I guess he just kept focus firing the infestors whenever they closed in with his tanks, and Nurtio probably hadn't experienced that before. So awesome. Awesome to see. A different time of balance, but cool nonetheless. Can you explain how to stack 12 probes perfectly inside each other for a Probius rush? Yeah. So you want to type !Florencio in chat, Chadray Incorporated, and you can learn how to do that every day. You just mineral stack them, dude. You just click them on a gas. That's all you need to do. You just click them on 2 mineral patches over and over till they stack, or even easier, just click them all onto a gas. And especially if they have to go around a corner to get on that gas, it means they'll all stack. So start an assimilator or an extractor, and just click them all on it. Yeah, a building gas. Just so, I mean, you can do it on the other gas. One will hop in, but yeah, it's fine either way. So guys, infested terrans are pretty awesome. Cool way to harass your opponent. If we used rapid fire, it'd be way easier. And we can use Roach Ravager Infestor here for some cool stuff. Oh no, I don't have a hotkey. That F hotkey, man, it's killing me, dude. So, without fungals being used, that apparently does not go well for me, guys. Let's try that again. Bring it on, boy! Run away! Notice how his units clump up whenever he chases. So that's why I'm pulling back, because I have the superior range on the Ravagers. And whenever I pull back, his units have to chase. Whenever he has to chase, his units clump up. I'm doing this with 220 ping right now on the Eastern US server. Don't be a bitch and say you can't do this. No matter how low level you are, just understanding how clumping works in StarCraft is really important. So, little micro demonstration wouldn't be complete without us resetting this and saying, okay, set up a gigantic concave for me, using some of that box click micro, my friend. Basically, box click, and we can have everything just beautifully set up in a huge concave. So these Marines are not spread far enough. So people never spread. This is a concave, what I have here. People look at that and say, that's not a concave, that's 3 blobs of units. But look at what happens when I attack move. Yeah, they will form a beautiful battle arc naturally as they join together. And you see they spread out, so they're all attacking at once, they're all automatically spread. But now, I say, Marines are scary, and look at this. As soon as he pursues past a certain distance, those Marines all clump up. Oh, I didn't even see those Marines on the south side. Free GG's. So yeah, it's insane. So this is why when you see a lot of late game and you wonder why are the players not engaging each other, remember, both players have a lot of splash damage, and you'll see pro players, one of them goes in for the engage, the other one pulls back, and then the guy who's going for the engage pulls back as well. Why? Because he knows if he chases, he's chasing into Psystorm, and his units will clump more and more the further forward he moves. His units are chasing into Siege Tank Fire. His units are chasing into Banelings, Infestors, Vipers, all of these things. So that's why it's very important to understand that the 2 most important things are your ability to simply spread your shit out before starting a fight, and to understand that the more you run in a direction, the more they will inevitably clump up as they go towards the enemy. They'll naturally end up in a ball, and they will need to be pulled back and respread if the situation calls for it, which is especially when you go up against any big siege units. My man. I learned to use C shift and clicking on minerals to speed up drones collecting minerals. Does that still make a difference, says Angelic Nutcake? I'm pretty sure that got patched out, so it doesn't do anything anymore. There's been 1 or 2 times where your ability to spam queuing up return minerals made a difference. Do you guys know if that still does anything? That's a no. Have you guys heard of that? Have you guys heard of that working recently at all? I'm pretty sure I haven't heard of that working since like early HOTS. It would be where you would spam your workers to return minerals, and they would actually return them like really fast. Whereas normally they would finish getting the minerals, they'd wait half a second and then turn around, but instead they'd be like, "Got the minerals, go back." Like it would make them kind of mine a little bit faster.
No idea, but it spams your APM really high if you just hold down C on your workers.
Yeah. I got so used to doing it, I still do it for a warm-up, says Angelic Nutcake. Yeah, not bad. You'll see me boxing, trying to do accurate boxes at the start of the game to kind of warm up a little bit. How does one stop their charge lots? Oh yeah. So can we do that charge lot? A charge lot army? Like I would like charge lot sentry Immortal Archon is actually really fascinating. That's a very common one, but any charge lot army, it's the same micro. And it's a different variation if you're up against banelings as well, where you've got to avoid splash damage. So how do you stop charge lots running in and just headbutting? Okay, we can do it against banelings, sure. I was thinking more roaches, but this'll do. This'll do. That's fine. Let's go.
Whatever. Sure.
Okay, so basically, you've got an army. You only need one control group for this sort of army. Right, guys? Only one control group. Attack move. Control click the zealots. Click them back. Oh, I'm using the wrong hotkeys. Whoops. That's cool. All right, let's go again. There we go. All right, so let's go. Control click. No. Now, because he's got banelings, my zealots are worthless. This is actually the wrong way to force field against this as well, by the way. So you can use your zealots a bit, but it's very advanced. Splitting micro, something most players suck at. And you actually want to hold position. If your opponent's really good at microing, like you can see he's not letting his banelings blow up until the zealots actually go on him. Normally you can just pull your zealots back and send them in a few at a time. But this is why if you're ever playing against Hydrabane or Roach Baneling, you don't have a lot of zealots in your army. Why? They'll run into the banelings and all die. So against banelings, what you want to do is you want to send your zealots mostly on counterattacks. If you end up with 20, 30 zealots in your army, you're like, I'm going to leave these 20 zealots down on that side of the map waiting. So if he comes for me, they're just going to counterattack a base where they can take a good trade away from the banelings, right? They can deal with roaches, zerglings, hydras just fine. But in a big fight where there's a ton of banelings running around, zealots aren't going to do shit. So you need to rely more on immortals, archons, all that other stuff. How do you force field so quickly? We already did a whole big demonstration on that, but just to rehash real quickly, since there is someone new in chat, we just hold down F. It toggles after just a fraction of a second, and then we can click as fast as we want, okay? That's built in. You don't need to adjust your settings at all. Just using standard hotkey setup, okay? So, against this sort of army, obviously that army is way better than ours in terms of value, but you would essentially often just do... Whoops, that was really bad micro. So yeah, you would basically just try to do force fields around your shit. You'd try to ball it up a little bit. And you would really hope they don't know how to use corrosive bile. And if they do know how to use corrosive bile like he does, you're gonna get wrecked. But normally this is a game losing situation. But yeah, if it's just Ling Bane, you always want to wall off against yourself because that composition's so unless there's like a choke point and there's no other way around, they will flank around the force fields. Against range units, you want to wall them, right? But against melee units, you actually want to just do the force fields surrounding your units in a bit of a donut. Oh my god, this is a funny little... It's really hard to line up a force field with the angle of this choke point. Oh no, it still blocks it fully, funnily enough, so it's okay. Easiest hold of my life. Just pull back from the corrosive biles and pick him away, little bit by little bit. Pull back from the corrosive biles. Pull back from the corrosive biles. Control click the immortals to move them forward. So we're doing a bit more by feel advanced micro here. This is not really me being like, oh, you just do it this way. This is me just kind of by feel microing this out. Oh, I've got control of the Ravagers. That's why I can't force field. It was selecting them when I boxed.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Normally you don't have control over your opponent's units. This is the LOTV Unit Tester splash top. Really useful. And you can see that Helix here has actually figured out all the different maps. I always just use the open scenario, but this is awesome. What are we doing here? Just more.
But there's also one with the unit ranges, by the way.
Oh, that's adorable. Holy shit, that's so cool. I didn't even realize this was in the map. So you can see how far a unit can shoot. So you can be like, okay, an Immortal has 6 range. So check it. Yeah, so you can shoot from there. Isn't that adorable? Sentry only has 5 range. He has to shoot from there. Haha, and you can look at this. So Zealot's right on about 7. And you can see the Ravager has 6 range, but the Roach only has 3 range. So bring that Roach down and the Ravager show us where they can hit from. Well. Yeah. Cool. I didn't even realize this. So you guys can go in and test it out. A siege tank has, I think, 13 range siege. So it can shoot from here all the way to there. It's like way further than other units. That's awesome. Katura says, can you do an example of Raven usage against the Terran army? I keep fucking up the interference matrix when I try to micro. I use shift command quite a lot. Don't use shift, yeah. Or you can a little bit, actually. We can go over that in just a sec real quick. And then we're going to finish up the micro scenario for now. We might try it again. Tempest anti-air should be the longest range, yep. Thor range should be about 11. Anti-air. Their ground range is 7, I believe. Yeah, no, this is a great way to just get in there and test out your units. So yeah, the Disruptor shoots as far as a siege tank. But if the siege tank doesn't have a spotter unit, it won't be able to shoot the Disruptor. So the Disruptor can actually kill shit out of its range, same way a siege tank can.
Actually, it has a bit more range.
Oh, really? I guess because of the splash, right?
Yeah, it's like a half range more.
Wait, really? Are you sure?
Yes, look at... try to hit the Disruptor, like the siege tank, I guess. You do have no vision, right?
Did that hit it?
No, wait.
I curved it. I curved it.
I think I did that.
Are you sure? Because I use a lot of balls and I can never do it if they've got the spotting unit out front.
Oh yeah. Wait, I did maybe spotting unit.
Did that hit?
Yeah, that's it.
So that hit, but you should have a spotting unit. Just bring an observer, or give an observer or something. Yeah.
This will take forever.
Yeah, you can just add vision as well. That's an easy way to do it, right?
I mean, I have your vision, but I don't think it.
Cool. So it is just the very edge. It is further. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's just barely.
Why is your tank not shooting me?
It's dead.
Oh, okay. We'll do it again. Get another one, yeah.
Wait, let's actually get the air units in there. Medivacs or something stupid.
If you guys go to the arcade, just search LOTV Unit Tester. You can host this up, guys. You can host it up with a friend. You can do it on your own, where you control both sides of the units. Like, you can just tell all the units to attack. So I do this on my own sometimes as well. So the siege tank will shoot me from where? There? Okay. So there it can't be shot. There it can be shot. There, can it be shot?
Am I in vision?
Yeah.
No.
I never knew. Holy shit. You realize I'm just going to teabag everyone on the ladder now, right? I thought I couldn't keep pushing in if they had an air spotter, but now I realize if I'm a little bit more pixel perfect, I'm never going to lose a game with disruptors again. Oh my god. The newbie stream teaching pig shit 9 years in. Let's be real. Disruptor's only been out for 3 years and they've changed it like 3 times. I've got my excuses ready. I'm a true StarCraft player, okay? I wouldn't say it's a full half a range. I'd say it's like a third of a range, right? Have you got a siege tank there again?
Yes.
Okay. So you can shoot me there. Let's see the maximum distance. Let's see if I can hit you from like here. I don't think I can hit you from there. Yeah, it's like a third of a range. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. Oh, why on siege for? What are you on siege for?
To be on the line.
Okay. Not sure. Okay. Hey, wait, get out of there, units. They're like, oh, don't you shoot my disruptor, mate. I'm like, no, you idiots, it's fine. So it shot me there, and I love how it leaves a little crater. Dude, that's beautiful. Yeah. with practice, I can easily get the feel for this. Because in game, I can always see where the tank is. I can click on where its line is, and that's what I'll do. I'll go, oh, okay, so we want to stop just in front of that line, and we can hit it. Okay, that one was just barely short. So I got to practice this. This is so sick, man. So we got to go there. Yeah, that's it. You got to stop. So your graphic will be just over the line. So you want these spinny bits to be way into the tank range, but the actual circle around the base of your disruptor to just be over the line of that tank. Let's see if I can. So yeah. So basically, we want to go about there. That should be just in range. I could move slightly more. Yeah. So here we go. Let me get vision with a hallucinated phoenix just so I can illustrate that point. Or a warp prism, apparently. Okay. So you can see the tank line. Look at that. It's like it's in the disruptor's circle, but because it can't hit the middle of the circle, it doesn't count as being in range. I don't know how big the middle area it counts is, but you can see it. It feels like it's in that tank circle, but it's actually not. Wow. Welcome to Bullshit City, guys. I am now going to siege down Terran players mercilessly. They need to use Liberators. They can't use tanks anymore. Oh, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. I'm so happy right now. Awesome. Can we do a Raven? The 2 Terran armies, get some Ravens in one army. I just want to siege some tanks. Shut down some enemy tanks. So one of the big things for Katoris's question about using Ravens and Shift is, I was pointing it out earlier, if you want to use Shift for casting spells, you got to make sure you do not have a move command. You need to make sure you can't be like, move there, Shift to use spells. Otherwise, they've got to move to that point before they complete it. So there's 2 ways you can do this. One is just give a right click at the base of where the Ravens are so that the move command is pretty much immediately complete, and then hold down Shift. So that's something I'll sometimes do. I'll be like, oh, Shift, C, interference matrix, right? So I right click at the bottom. The other way is you can just tap stop or S to clear any previous move commands they have, okay? Now, the other thing here is vision. If you don't have vision, it's really hard when you're walking on, you go, oh, fuck, this tank's shooting me. What do I do? Fucking shit. You're not going to land your spells. But if you scan ahead, or you have a Marine or a Hellion that goes, oh, their army's here, you're going in, and you're going in prepared. So we can go in, and we can go. Okay, that's actually an obscene number of tanks, but there we go. And how did I do this? I actually did this with C-click, C-click, C-click. But normally, I think in-game, often what I would do is more like, we can do it again, same situation's fine.
Oh, sorry. Sure.
I would often, let's just do this with like 2 Ravens, and obviously we're going to show it, even though I'm going to get my army killed because there's too many tanks here. This is not a realistic scenario. Just let's talk about the way I use the Ravens, okay? So get your Marines to fuck off. Just get rid of them. We don't need your silly Marines, okay? Thank you. I do appreciate the orbitals though. Nice.
Thought they would be instantly, sorry.
Yeah. So basically what we're going to do is we want the Ravens to land their spells. So especially if we're breaking a siege position, we would kind of A-move our Viking Raven in. Cool thing about that is an A-move for a unit that doesn't have an attack is just a move command. So we might be like A-move, and we might go Shift C-click, and then we can kind of spam those spells after they complete the move command, right? Not bad. Not bad. It's just important to slow it down. So if you can hop in the unit tester, and remember what I did earlier with that micro, guys? I was talking about how to do a storm drop, and I wrote it down in a fucking list like the big old nerd that I am. That's right. Come and give me a wedgie, you fucking chads. Give me a swirly, you douchebags. That's right. I write down how to micro my units when I'm first learning things. I don't have to do this anymore because I've been playing this game for fucking forever. But just make sure you have a clear idea. You don't even need to write it down, but at least have a clear idea of do this, then this, then this, then this. Take the adrenaline out of it and slow it down. So, this scenario, one last time, I'm going to give you guys an example of how I do that on screen. Number 1, send in Ravens. Number 2, attack move Marines. Number 2, select Ravens, and holding down C, spam cuck matrices. C for cuck matrix. That's why the hotkey's C. Blizzard have told me they can't technically change the name, or they'll get in trouble, but they've changed the hotkey default to C in honor of accepting that that really should be its name. Let's do that one more time. Send in me air units. A move me ground units. C, 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 C. Cuck, 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 cuck. You're a cuck, you're a cuck. You're also a cuck. You there? Yes, you. You're a cuck too. You're all cucks. Welcome to Cucktown. And notice I'm not microing my Marines or my ground units. If I'm using a spellcaster, you guys will notice if you watch my stream, I never micro anything. If I've got a spellcaster, nah, I'm not fucking microing my other units. I just A-move them. Send the spellcaster in just ahead of my army, A-move my shit, cast me spells, sit back and hope stuff works out. Less is more. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try and micro every little fancy thing. And what else? Some of you would say, oh, you could have dropped an anti-armor missile there, Pig. You could have done auto turrets. No. No, 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 no. What do you think? I'm fucking innovation? You think I know how to use 2 spells on a spellcaster? I'm GM with all races. I'm not fucking pro with all races. The reason I can play at a decent level with every race is I keep my shit as simple as possible. When I'm first getting used to Ravens, I would be like, they only use Interference Matrix. I'm not allowed to use any other spell because in the heat of the battle, I'm just going to fucking panic and I'm going to like anti-armor missile my own units or some shit. So knowing that I'm a panicky goat that's going to faint in the middle of combat, I force myself to have a very simple, consistent game plan where it's the exact same thing over and over and over again. And that way I get really good at that thing before learning other things. So simplify it down, work really hard on it, and it's actually insane. I always struggle watching pros doing fancy micro, but sometimes their 6 Vipers just float over the enemy army and die. Yeah, that happens all the time. When, like, if you watch pro play, they throw spellcasters away, they fuck shit up. They do it all the time. So it's actually really good to remember to just slow shit down. And remember that if you just do stuff kind of okay, you're doing it a lot better than you were before, right? A lot of people, they think like they're going to go from not microing Ravens at all using them to going to like, I'm going to use them like fucking Innovation and Mara. It's like, you're not. Just as long as you can kind of get it together, you'll get better over time. So just remember, don't be afraid of micro units. They're actually really, really simple once you come up with a technique, right? So we just go, okay, one more time, send them in, A-move ground army. I'm actually C-clicking each of those. I really like C-click. So I like the manual casting, but like I said, you could easily just move them to that point and go C, shift, 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 and that where you don't need to go button, click, because I know a lot of you struggle with that coordination of pressing 2 buttons in sequence very, very, very quickly. I think I'm done with the micro trainer for now.